All right, good evening, everybody. Yeah, welcome to our preliminary discussion on ICAN case study Preseen. All right, please, if you can hear me, kindly let me know. Can you signify, please? All right, thank you very much. You're all welcome to preliminary discussion around ICAN case study. I hope we are going to have a nice time together. All right, so let me just take some 30 seconds to wait for people to join before we start. Okay. Okay, I think we need to start so we can finish on time. I can release the same case study some 2 days ago, if I'm correct, and then we have it here already. So that tells us that we have the reality on ground around the exam. So beyond case study, you have some other papers you might be attempting, or some of us, we're only writing the case scenario. So that's interesting. So we are going to take a look at it. So let me provide some information upfront. As I am now, I have not read the percent. So you may be shocked. You may be shocked to hear that actually. I've not really checked it. So although I saw it immediately, it was uploaded online. So that was around 4 a.m. I guess on Thursday. But because I've been on transit, so I've been traveling across the country, so I've not been able to really go through it. So I'll be going through it for the first time today, or in this class, even though this is not the first time it's happening, that's happened in the past. We don't have anything to worry about, right? So case study is actually here, so we can easily trash it. Notwithstanding that, again, this is not the main analysis, so it's just to go through it together and provide some insight. So we're going to, it's going to be a kind of engagement or discussion. I'm going to see your perspective to it, then my own perspective to it, as well as I read or as we go through it. Okay. So sorry. So we're going to go through it together. I'm sure some of you have read it and provide some insights. The main analysis is going to come up on November 16. In that class, you're not the one that will talk. I'm the one that will talk. And the report will be ready by then. And the suggested on scene. But this today is just to so that you have something to think about or something you need to take home around the case scenario to help you in your preparation. So that's what we really want to do. So it's kind of chats between you and I, your perspective to the case scenario. We're going to check what do we really need to know, or probably maybe we can also get to know what could be in the mind of the examiner around this scenario. Then probably from tomorrow, then I'll start looking at it properly to see what the possible unseen can look like. Then by Thursday, Friday, I should be starting to write the report. The report is not really the problem. I can write the report under 2 hours. But the unseen, the prediction is where the job really is. Okay. But notwithstanding, let's see what we are going to do this evening. So remember, this is not the analysis in itself. So we just wanted to go through what they have brought on. So I'm familiar with this exhibit because immediately it was released, or when I downloaded it, I just I looked at the exhibits just for me to see the industry is going to test. And interestingly, is the automobile industry around Folak Motors Nigeria Limited, Folak Motors. I think the short form should be FMN actually. So that sounds familiar. All right. So from this exhibit, we are able to tell whether it is an internal report or external report. All right. So exhibit one is about you, Sylvester Chukudi, and your employer, Bagudu Ademola and Co., chartered accountant. Exhibit 2 looks at the Nigerian economy and the service sector, Nigerian economy and the service sector. Okay, so that's interesting. Then exhibit 3 is looking into analysis of motor vehicle sales and distribution business in Nigeria, 2022 to 2025. In exhibit 4, we have the analysis of motor repairs, service centers, and spare parts sales in Nigeria. Okay, so because I've not really read it, so I'm trying to understand where Fola Motor is really playing around. Is it motor vehicle sale and distribution, or they are into motor repair, service center and spare parts? So these are two different things actually, even though they are still within the automobile space. So we're going to find out. I'm sure you have read it. You have not read it, so but don't worry. All right, so here, exhibit 5, we have Folak Motors on audited, summarized 2023 to 2024 financial statement. Okay, so he gave us financials. That's interesting. Unlike last time, they did not give us. Okay, all right, but this is 2 years. Okay, and it is 2023 and 2024. So does that mean it may not likely bring a third year, except if the financial is ending in September, because this exam is going to be written in November, all right, 2025. So that means the possibility or the tendency of bringing year 3 is slim, but you can actually do that if the year end is September, all right, but it's very slim. Now, my insight to this is, if it's not going to bring 2025, then the examiner has something in mind, all right? But I will not speak too much. Yeah, but I think I understand. I know what they have in mind here. If you decide not to bring year 3, okay, which is 2025, so it's really unlikely. All right, so what does he really have in mind? You are going to hear that in November 2016, November 16, 2025, actually. All right, so let's move on. We have, sorry. Before I move on, from this list of exhibits, I can easily determine whether we are writing internal reports or external reports, okay? Whether we're writing internal reports or external reports. So when you look at that exhibit 1, it says about you, Sylvester Chukudi, and your employer, Agudu. Then in exhibit 5, it gave us unaudited account for Folak Motors. So Folak Motors is most likely going to be your client, and you're going to write about them, even though in the exhibit 6, in the unseen, where you're going to see your requirements, the what's it called? Your boss will ask you to draft a report for his attention. So this makes it an external report, and it can never be internal report, because I see some people saying you can change to internal report. No, you can't. Okay. So this is an external report. Why? Because it is not your own boss or your employer that will take decision on this report. It is a board of Polak Motors. All right, so that makes it an external report. So we're writing external report. So if you have taken my lectures, you know how your cover page is going to look like already, and probably the what's it called, the title of the report. Then probably in Exhibit 1, we should have an insight on what the requirement is going to look like, even though, as I mentioned earlier, because it gave us 2-year financials, so it may go outside, in my thinking actually, it may go outside what you have in Exhibit 1 as part of the requirements. So the moment I saw this, I told you I said I have 4 a.m. on Thursday morning. I was already thinking, because I needed to quickly read this so that I started thinking of what could happen or what it could bring on in the unseen. But this is telling me it may really want you to have some other thinking area that you may want to test. But you don't need to worry. It's for me to worry about. So I'm going to write this exam before you, and it's going to be really, demanding, a lot of thinking. So my job is to guide you. So as I mentioned earlier, this is just a chat, so I'm not really going deeper. And anytime I want to go deeper, I'll caution myself to come back, right? So now, let's look at Exhibit 1. About you, Sylvester Chukudi, and your employer, Bagudu Ademola and Co., Chartered Accountant. So here it says you are Sylvester Chukudi, an accounting graduate, writing the professional level of ICAN examination. You are employed as a trainee in a firm of Bagudu Ademola and Co., Chartered Accountant, reporting directly to Dauda Bagudu, a partner in the firm. Your position requires a proactive approach to client services and technical competence in accounting, financial analysis, and business advisory. Key responsibilities: 1, preparation of financial analysis and reports. You are tasked with preparing detailed financial analysis and reports regarding the performance of the firm's clients. This involves gathering relevant financial data, performing rigorous analysis, and presenting findings in a clear and structured report to facilitate informed decision-making. All right, so that is really interesting. You must do this, you're going to do this in the exam. I think what catches my attention is the fact that it says this involves gathering relevant financial data, performing rigorous analysis, and presenting findings in a clear, structured report to facilitate informed decision. All right. Okay. Number 2, analysis of financial statements. Your role include analyzing clients' financial statements to identify areas of weakness. Upon identifying this anomaly, develop and recommend likely solutions aimed at correcting deficiencies and improving financial health. I've seen 2 requirements here. So you're going to do financial statement analysis. So you need to really work on those 2-year financial statements. So it's going to ask you a question on that. So that's what this is saying. And if in the first bullet, you are going to do financial data analysis. So that's where it says it involves gathering relevant financial data. So which aspect of financial data is it going to test? So we don't know that yet. I said I've not read it. I've not, I've not read it at all. Okay, so, but the moment I read it, then I know I can easily connect what the examiner might be thinking about. I know it's going to be a bit not going to be straightforward. So which aspect of financial data is going to likely test? Is it NPV? Is it going to be cost volume profits? Is it going to be limiting factor? Is it going to be variance analysis? So we don't know. So we need to figure this out. I have minimum of 4 to 5 days to think about this and bring it home. But that's number 2 is we already have that because it gave us the financials. So we can quickly do our ratios, trend analysis, common size analysis, as the case may be. Sorry, am I lecturing already? Okay. It's supposed to be a chart actually, but just listen to me carefully. So that this will give you some insight into how your preparation should really look like. Okay. So I am very sure those two is going to come up in the requirement, and that will be in the exhibit 6 in the unseen when you get into the exam. But I'll try to formulate this, then that can serve as a guide before the exams. Okay, so let me look at bullet 3. What's this one saying? Assessment of business proposals. Okay, assess various operational and strategic business proposals, evaluating how each aligns with the client objectives. Additionally, consider the impact of these proposals on the client's business and financial risk to ensure recommendations are both practical and strategic. All right, so there's going to be business proposals. So I can confidently tell you that this bullet 3 is linked to bullet 1. So, we're just providing insight actually. So it's linked to bullet 1. We talked about financial data earlier. So here, it's now saying there's going to be assessment of business proposals. And those business proposals will accompany financial data. Okay. And when you look at bullet 4, it's now linking bullet 2 and bullet 1. Look at that. It says evaluation of forecasts and assumptions. Did you see that? You're also to examine client financial and business forecasts. So is NPV coming up? All right. Scrutinizing the assumptions upon which they are based. But remember, it's not only NPV that has business forecasts, right? Or financial forecasts, as the case may be. But NPV is the most commonest. Now, this is to enable you form well-grounded judgment, draw reasoning conclusion, and make relevant recommendations tailored to the client context. Okay, so bullet 1, 2, 3, they are all together. So bullet 2 is standing alone as a requirement. So in bullet 5, it said strategic tax planning advice. Okay. All right. So here, what is it saying here? Provide advice on strategic tax planning, guiding clients towards approaches that result in optimal tax liability and compliance with relevant regulation. This looks familiar. I think he has included this responsibility in one of the diets. That should be Travex Hotels. Was it last year? Yeah. But eventually, he didn't test anything on tax planning. But I'm going to include it in your reports, okay? In case you decide to put it as part of the requirement. Going by the new tax system or tax reform in Nigeria, that will take effect in 2026. So most likely, you may want to touch on this. So, but I remember clearly last year when he added. That's why I said this looks familiar. It didn't really test it at all. Okay, I remember again. I think I also put it there in that report, but I mentioned that if eventually it doesn't form part of requirements, you don't need to do it. Okay, but if it forms part of requirements, then obviously you have to talk about it. So when you look at this, it's just talking about strategic tax planning advice. So you don't need to bother yourself about the computation. The computation is going to be done in your advanced taxation. So that's what it's saying here. So it might ask you to provide an advice to the clients on how they can manage their taxes in view of the recent tax reforms in Nigeria. So most likely you may see that. So that's what I think. All right. So everything I'm thinking actually. Then drafting analytical reports. Okay. So in all of this, you're going to provide one single report. So how is your report going to look like? You need to work on that. That's the structure of your report from your cover page up to your appendices. You should know that, including your executive summary, introduction, the main report, your conclusion, and recommendation. So if you are taking my lectures, I'm sure You should be familiar with that. Okay. So it said based on your operational and strategic business analysis, draft comprehensive report for your line report review, ensuring that findings and recommendations are clearly communicated and actionable. I think ICAN is not particular about making practical recommendations. I think I read it somewhere earlier. All right. So here is repeating that to say your recommendations has to be clearly communicated and actionable. So you need to think like a professional that you are. So I guess that's what it's trying to say here. So don't just, bring on recommendation. Again, if you've listened to my lecture, I always say that your recommendation has to be linked with the findings in your report, okay, or in your analysis. So after you've done the analysis, your financial statement analysis, in that bullet, was it bullet 2, he said you find anomaly, all right? So you look at liquidity, profitability, and all of that. Where the entity is not doing well, so what do they need to do? So don't just frame recommendations, they have to be linked with your findings and they have to be clearly communicated and actionable, practical recommendations. So we really need to work on that, okay? In our said, to effectively fulfill these responsibilities, you have to keep abreast of development in the accounting and taxation sectors. So again, that's the way he said it in one of the previous slides, okay? As well as matters relating to business sustainability. Oh, are you serious? Ah, So again, I have been seeing sustainability in under Exhibit 1 a couple of times now. I think this will be the third time, but he has never tested it again. All right, so, but I will also include it in your report. So you have a lot to cram, you want to cram at you. So I'm going to include taxation there. I'll include sustainability. I know what to include under sustainability. Even though sustainability is for PIEs, right? According to FRC, that's Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, and the mandatory compliance will start in 2028. So currently we are in the voluntary adoption stage. So, ISSB standards, that's the IFRS S1 and IFRS S2, right? General disclosures or general requirements relating to sustainability related financial information. That's IFRS S1 and IFRS S2 talks about climate related disclosures. According to IFRC, for you to fall under PIEs, either you're a publicly listed entity or you're a limited company, you make revenue of about 30 billion and above. And I'm not sure this client is making up to that. But notwithstanding, what is most important is I can't just wanted to test your understanding of some of these recent or emerging issues around regulatory landscape as it were. So that's what I think. So I'm just spotting sustainability here. Okay, so thank God we are even doing this together. So it's also helping me actually. All right, so that's something to think about. But eventually, you may not eventually test anything on taxation or sustainability. But for us to prepare well, we are going to discuss that. Okay. That will be on November 16, by God's grace. Then this commitment to this commitment to continuous learning ensures that your work reflects current best practice and supports the parents' clients in achieving their objectives. Okay. All right. So that's interesting. Okay. So let's move on because of time. All right. So Exhibit 2 is now looking into what's this one saying? The Nigerian economy and the service sector. The Nigerian economy and the service sector. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's take a look. So we have the introduction. right? So what do we have under the introduction? So let's see. It says the Nigerian economy. So let me tell you something here. So when you read this, all of these exhibits, so we needed that understanding. Then you are going to ask yourself, how is this relevant to my report? So that's the question you're asking. So again, because I just wanted us to discuss this, and it's not the real analysis itself. So I will not go deeper. Okay. So, but again, as you read, as you prepare, so just think, how will this impact my report? Even though we don't know the requirements yet, but there's some information that will have direct impact on our report. Some will have indirect impact. It's just for us to understand what goes on in the industry. But again, I'm thinking, in the requirement may be up to 3 or 4 in my head from what I've seen in the structure of the exhibit and those responsibilities. I'm already seeing about a minimum of 4 requirements. Even though I know 2 are certain, so the other 2, I'm trying to figure them, but something is playing in my head right now. So, but then for you, what impact will this information have on the report? Okay, so here it says the Nigerian economy, one of the Africa's largest by GDP, is driven by a diverse array of sectors, with the service sector accounting for a significant share of national output. The motor repairs business stands out as a vital subsector, supporting the country's extensive road transportation system by ensuring the functionality and longevity of vehicles used by millions of Nigerians. So what you think about is, how will this impact your report? Okay. So I don't really know yet, but you need to think about that. Now, the structure of the service sector in Nigeria. You know, when we started, I asked a question. When I saw it mentioned, let me go back to the exhibit so that you can link it, right? So here in exhibit 2, it says the Nigerian economy. Okay, sorry. In exhibit 3, actually, it said analysis of motor vehicle sales and distribution. Then exhibit 4, it says analysis of motor repairs, service centers, and spare parts. So the question is, which of these is FOLAC, playing in? So we need to identify that. Is it playing in all of this, or is it playing in one of them? So now, my thinking is, am I going too deep? Okay, let me explain my thinking. So if, probably because I've not read it actually, but I know what I'm trying to figure out. If you have the Nigerian economy and the service sector, obviously, the motor vehicle or automobile is part of the service sector. That's my thinking, right? Now, you don't have motor vehicle sale and distribution, they have motor repairs and service centers. So, which of them is FOLAC operating in, or is it operating in both of them? So, if it's operating in both of them, then it will change the dimension of the requirement. If it's operating in one of them, it will also change the dimension of the requirement. Okay, especially the requirement 2. So that's where the issue really is. Requirement 1, we don't have problem with that. It's usually our financial statement analysis, but it might be the examiner may determine the ratios you're going to do because he wanted you to discuss some other strategic issues. That's what I've seen so far. So I think it's limiting. It's already maybe it's seen that most candidates are not comfortable in doing financial statement analysis, I guess. So he wanted us to opt case study by, looking into a more strategic information, thinking, you have to think. And that's why it's been saying you have to give actionable recommendations. So that's what I think. So let's move on. So we're going to find out, don't worry. So I'm just also helping someone that might be listening to me that you have not also seen, you have not also checked it, just like myself, right? So, um, so he gave us the structure of the service sector in Nigeria. Okay, so he's been discussing service sector, and he also said somewhere that the motor repairs, can you see, motor repairs business stand out as a vital subsector. Okay, all right, so it's getting clearer now. Now, he now said, in under the structure, so he said, Nigerian service sector has experienced significant growth over the past decade. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the sector contributes over 50% to Nigeria's GDP. Remember, it is the service sector. So that when you are writing, you will not go and say automobile is contributing 50%. All right. So it's actually the service sector. And I know the service sector has a whole lot of components that makes the service sector. I'm sure it's going to say that somewhere. So let's read on. It has said, um, okay, the sector contributes 50% to Nigeria's GDP, outpacing agriculture and oil in recent years. Its component, can you see? He said it. Its component, that's component of the service sector, include trade, transport, real estate, finance, information technology, professional service, and personal service. Can you see? So that is all of that put together has contributed over 50% to Nigerian gross domestic products. Okay, so that's for the service sector. It now said the motor repair service sector. You know, we have not been able to determine something. I'm sure some of you might have known it, but me, I don't know yet. Where is FOLAC playing in? So we need to really know that. So the moment we figure that out, then it will help us to know what the likely requirement is going to look like. Okay. Now it says the motor repair service subsector. Okay. Motor repairs, while often grouped under trade and personal services, represent a critical link in the Nigeria's transportation value chain. As countries' urban centers expand and vehicle ownership rises, the demand for reliable personal motor repair service has surged, creating opportunities for entrepreneurs and skilled technicians alike. All right. Okay, so that's interesting. So what are the key features of key features affecting motor repairs? So it's still under motor repair. I just wanted to understand the flow. We talked about the service sector, motor repairs. So what are the key features? So one is informal versus formal enterprise. All right. The second is skills and training, access to infrastructure, and supply chains. But what is it saying here? So let's see. It says under the informal versus formal enterprise. It says the majority of motor repairs business operate within Nigeria's vast informal sector, characterized by small-scale workshops, roadside mechanics, and family-run garages. Formal enterprises, often branded service centers, represent a smaller but growing segment, typically creating a newer vehicle and client service as and clients seeking higher standard of service. Okay, all right. So that's just a kind of characteristics of the key features of motor repairs. Two, skills and training. Technical expertise is mostly acquired through informal apprenticeship rather than structural vocational education, leading to variable service quality and innovation. The services sector's increasing sophistication has begun to drive demand for higher standards and technician certifications. Access to infrastructure. The efficiency of motor repairs business depends on access, reliable electric power, good road network, and modern diagnostic equipment, all of which are shaped by wider service sector investments. Okay, something's playing in my head, but I'm still finding it difficult to explain. Again, it's just an insight, right? But I needed to find out where this company is playing into. Yeah, so supply chains, access to spare parts and technical information is strongly influenced by trade regulation, import policies, and logistics infrastructure within the service sector. Okay. Okay. Um, All right. Okay, so that's okay. Let's move on. So we have the economic impact of motor repairs. Okay, so I'm still under motor repairs within the service sector. Okay, motor repairs businesses contribute meaningfully to job creation, skills transfer, and local economic development by supporting the road transport system, which moves over 9% of Nigerian goods and people. They help sustain the productivity of other services subsectors, such as retail and logistics. Okay, economic merit of motor repair subsector: employment generation, entrepreneurship, complementary service. Okay, what do they mean by this? Okay, we're still under motor repairs. Okay, so we saw the features earlier. So we're looking at the impact and their merit. Okay. Now they said it generates employment. The motor repairs business absorbed thousands of apprentices and skilled workers, offering a pathway for youth employment, an economy where where formal jobs are scarce. Okay. The entrepreneurship, the low barriers to entry. Low barrier to entry. Hmm. Does that sound familiar? Low barriers to entry. Okay. In the sector, enable the proliferation of micro and small enterprises, thus fostering economic inclusion. Complementary service. Successful motor repairs businesses often evolve into broader service providers, including auto electrics, car wash, sale of spare parts, and accessory installation, further deepening their economic footprint. Okay, all right, that's interesting again. Challenges facing motor repairs business in the Nigeria service sector. Okay, so despite the importance, the motor repair subsector face considerable challenges arising from both and the broader service environment in its own internal dynamics. So let's look at the challenges. The first one is infrastructure constraints. Power supply remain low and erratic, forcing many businesses to rely on generators, which increases operational costs. Power supply for motor repair. Oh, really? Okay. Power supply for motor repairs. Okay. I'm just thinking how that is playing. I understand maybe those people that do alignment, I mean, yeah, they use power. But also a mechanic, do they use power? Okay. I'm just thinking anyway. All right, so poor road conditions complicate access to clients and the movement of supplies. Inadequate workshop facility and outdated equipment. Okay, I agree with that. Also limit the competitiveness of local businesses. Okay. Regulatory and policy constraints. Absence of formal regulation. I don't think they have regulation as well. For many informal motor repair businesses, results in inconsistent service standards, yes, and customer trust issues. Where regulation exists, compliance can be expensive and complex, particularly for small business. Absolutely. Access to finance. Limited access to affordable finance restricts business expansion, service sector, finance. Okay. Yeah. Investment in modern tools and capacity building. Financial institutions often prefer lending to well-established businesses with formal documentation and collateral, leaving smaller workshops at a disadvantage. Okay, okay. Technical skill gaps. You see, you will write though. You want it to write, honestly. Okay. In everything you have been seeing, there is what there, right? Strength. It does seem strength, but we've been seeing, I think we've been seeing opportunities, right? And probably threats, maybe, but still in the motor repair actually. All right, so let's see technical skill gaps because we've not seen anything about fall yet, so we can't say there's strength or weakness. Reliance on informal training limits the sector's ability to adapt to evolving automobile technology such as hybrid and electric vehicles. Limited limited availability of structural vocational programs and certification impede workers' mobility and overall sector professionalism. Okay, and the other one is supply chain and spare part quality. Motor repairs businesses frequently affected by counterfeit or substandard spare parts, which undermines service quality and vehicle safety. Trade policy affecting importation of genuine spare parts can also disrupt supply chains. Yes, there's always trade war and import duty. Okay, digitalization and technology adoption. Okay, so that's another one. All right, so all of those are just the challenges, right? All right, so let's look at the opportunities. The opportunity, so those are, so technically they are threats. So these are the opportunities. So access to finance is an opportunity, okay? Is also at the same time a challenge, okay? So the first one is vocational training and certification. He said, amidst this, investment in formal technical education and certification can improve service standards, foster innovation, and enhance consumer confidence. Partnership between government, private sector, and international organizations can help deliver targeted training programs. The current government policy of technical and vocational education is expected to improve the availability of trained technicians in the subsector. Okay. Then access to finance. Tailored financial products for small businesses such as microloans and equipment leasing, yes, can help entrepreneurs invest in modern tools, workshop upgrades, and staff development. Infrastructure upgrade is there. Regulatory reform is also there. Digitalization is there. Quality assurance, local production capacity. So let me read that. The volume of cars sold by dealers in Nigeria and the demand for high quality service and repair workshop is an indication that the capacity for part production and for certification of technicians exists. Local production capacity. Underline that. That is interesting. Okay. Local production capacity. So I'm thinking, should I say it or not? Okay, let me see, keep thinking. Yes. So now the roles of government and stakeholders. So the government of Nigeria, in collaboration with industry stakeholders, have a pivotal roles in to play in shaping the future of motor repairs within the service sector. The role of government includes policy formulation, obviously, public-private partnership, yes, industry association. Okay. The service sector is a significant part of Nigerian economy, providing employment, fostering innovation, and supporting social mobility. Motor repair business, a vital subsector, is both a beneficial and contributor to this dynamic environment. Strategic investments in education, infrastructure, finance, and digitalization combined with regulatory reform and industry collaboration can help motor repairs business thrive within Nigeria's evolving service sector. The financial success of the subsector will sustain the nation's mobility, drive its economic productivity, and empower the aspiration of its people. All right. So that's just collaborating what they said earlier. Okay. So analysis of motor vehicle sales and distribution. Okay. So this is something else, right? So quite different from what we've seen so far is motor repairs. So now motor vehicle sales and distribution. So when you hear car dealer, so this is what they are talking about. So that's what we want to check now. So now I just hope they told us somewhere when maybe maybe they told us about, because I didn't see about Folak in that exhibit too. That can be a source of worry. But let's see. Maybe okay. So let's continue. So let's look at the introduction. The Nigerian motor vehicle sale and distribution sector is a critical portion of the economy. As one of the continent's most populous nations, Nigeria's automotive industry reflect the broader economic, infrastructure, and regulatory trends that shape its commercial landscape. Since 2022, the sector has undergone substantial shift, faced economic headwinds, evolving consumer preference, and policy-driven reforms that collectively reshape the terrain for manufacturers, importers, and distributors. Market overview. Okay, Nigeria's automotive sector is predominantly import-driven. Yeah, I agree. With a vast majority of vehicles, both new and used, sourced from Asia, Europe, and North America. Despite efforts to foster local assembly, the market remains resilient on imports due to cost advantages, limited manufacturing capacity, and consumer demand for affordable vehicles. Do we even have any manufacturing capacity? But I know we have some assembly. Maybe you know some motors, right? I'm not sure. Do they assemble or they manufacture? Okay, so let's see. Let's move on. Maybe this is a case of a no. Maybe. I'm not sure. Okay. I think you know say assemblies, right? I'm not sure we have that local production. So that's why I said, as we read on, once we know where Fallak plays, it will shape the requirement. So do they want to now diversify into production or into assembly? So one of them is going to prop up. Oh, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I've been thinking since, right? Okay. So, so let's see, size and growth. I'm just thinking. Since 2022, Nigeria's motor vehicle market has experienced both moderate growth and volatility. In 2022, total annual vehicle sales made up of both new and used vehicles were estimated to be around 280,000 units. Wow, are you serious? The market was dominated by used vehicles, obviously, Tokumbo, constituting more than 80%, wow, of sales. Yeah, interesting. The new vehicle segment, severely impacted by scarcity of foreign exchange and import duties, accounted for 10 to 15% of total sales. Okay. By 2023, a slight uptick in economic activities and modest improvement in infrastructure spurred a minor rebound. Nonetheless, the industry faced challenges such as persistent inflation. So these are wider contexts. Does that make sense, right? Persistent inflation, a depreciating naira, and increasing costs of finance for consumers and businesses. By 2024 and into 2025, the market trajectory remain uncertain but demonstrated resilience, with projection estimating total annual sales growing to around 320,000 units by the end of 2025. Wow. Okay, that's why I struck it anyway. Assuming gradual economic stabilization. Okay, all right. I think it's making sense. Key segments, and distribution channels. Here, used vehicles, Tokumbo. Oh, they mentioned it. Ah, you see it. Okay. Now, these make up the largest segment. I think we saw about 80%, right? Yes, imported mainly from the United States of America, Europe, and Asia. So which one do they used to say Belgium? Okay, Belgium car. Okay, it should be in Europe, right? Okay. Used cars are distributed throughout a network of dealers, yes, independent resellers, and automats concentrated in major cities like Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Okay. New vehicles with international brands such as Changan. This one they are just coming out. Changan. That's the China. Geely, Kia, Honda. Okay, Honda. Mercedes, Benz, Toyota, Volkswagen, etc. Ah, okay. Okay. I'm thinking of a brand you did not mention. Okay. The new vehicle segment is mainly sold through authorized dealerships. However, High prices and limited access to credit confine their customer base to government agencies, corporates, yeah, it's true, and a small affluent uh, consumer class. So if you really have money, you can buy a new car, right? Okay. Now, C, local assembly. Hmm. Okay. Despite, uh, okay, someone said Jetor and Gak. Yes, I think, yeah, they didn't mention them. Was, they are, I think they are newer vehicles. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at local assembly. Despite policy incentives, locally assembled vehicles still account for a minor fraction of total sales due to limited production capacity and high input cost. Okay. So now let me give you some insights here. So he gave us three key segments for for um, sale and distribution. Okay, we have done motor repair earlier, so we are now in sale and distribution. So let me assume that FOLAC is within sale and distribution. We now need to find out, is it selling used vehicles or new vehicles or both of them? Is that okay? So if it's, let me assume it's doing the two of them, then automatically we may consider diverting or increasing our coverage into local assembly or production. Does that make sense, right? Or diversify into repairs. Okay, are you thinking now, right? So that's what I'm thinking. And it can only be one of them. Hey, so God will lead us right, actually. And one of them. Okay, but I think it's getting clearer. If I'm reading, it's getting clearer. Okay, so let's look at distribution structure. So we're going to find out, some of you know it already, but as we read on, we're going to find out. So I think, yeah. All right, so let's look at distribution structure. So we have authorized dealership, independent dealers, online platforms. I think online is even very more now. All right, so let's see. Typically located in urban centers, I'm reading from the authorized dealership. This outlet represents international automakers and provide sales, financing, and after-sales service and warranties. They rely heavily on brand reputation and long-term relationships with corporate clients. Okay, so these are the authorized dealers. Okay, okay. Then independent dealers. These actors dominate the used vehicle market, importing in bulk and reselling directly to consumers or through automats. Okay. Online platforms. The digitalization of commerce has seen the emergence of online marketplace where consumer can browse, negotiate, purchase vehicles with increased transparency and convenience. There are plenty on Instagram actually. Okay. So let's look at even GG or they call it. Now, let's look at key market drivers. Population, population growth and urbanization, infrastructural development, government policy and regulation. Okay, so these are the drivers. Okay, let me read it. The first one, Nigeria's population exceeds 237 million with a rapid growing urban middle class. The need for mobility is expanding in expanding cities, drives constant demand for both, for both personal and commercial vehicles. Okay, that's fine. Infrastructural development, while public transit remains inadequate, investment in road infrastructure, especially Lagos and Abuja, have encouraged private vehicle ownership. The improvement of expressways and urban roads has direct impact on vehicle safety. Okay. Government policy and regulation. The Nigerian Automotive Industry Development Plan introduced incentives for local assembly and placed higher tariffs on fully built imports to stimulate domestic manufacturing. Okay. However, inconsistent enforcement and policy reversals have hindered the plan's effectiveness. The plan's effectiveness. Okay, this is a great insight. Okay, all right. Okay, that's fine. Access to finance, microfinance institution and emerging automotive finance products are making vehicle ownership more accessible to consumers through high interest rates and economic volatility remain a barrier for many. Okay, challenges facing the sector. So I'll just read the bullets here. So it says foreign exchange constraint. Yeah, high import duties and tariffs. That's why cars are very expensive. Weak manufacturing base, they don't even have. Smuggling, yes, and informal market. All those ones will not have a custom duty, except they forge it. Poor infrastructure and insecurity. Let me read that one. Underdeveloped transport infrastructure and security challenges restrict distribution networks and increase logistical costs for distribution and dealers. Okay, okay. All right, that's fine. Then we have trends and opportunities, 2022 to 2025. So we are still in the sale and distribution, right? Okay. Digital transformation, local assembly and value addition, electric and alternative fuel vehicle. Okay. Okay, let me go through them. Online sales platform, digital financing solution, and data-driven inventory management are reshaping vehicle distribution. The COVID-19 is still coming up again. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated this trend, and with consumers increasingly relying on online research and virtual showroom. Okay, local assembly and value addition, ongoing investments are gradually increasing the share of locally assembled vehicles. Government procurement policies favor locally produced vehicles, offer a good opportunity through significant scale up is needed to compete with import. Though, okay, I was reading our script. So though significant scale up is needed to compete with imports. Okay. Electric and alternative vehicles, fuel vehicles. Though still in early stages, there is growing interest in electric vehicles and hybrid technology, particularly commercial fleet. Um, pilot projects, and public awareness campaign are underway. Yes, so that's correct. But infrastructure such as availability of charging station and reliable electricity pose major orders. Okay. After sales market and value chain expansion, the growth of Nigerian auto sector is driving demand for spare parts, servicing, and maintenance. Oh, again, okay. So we are seeing spare parts, servicing, and maintenance, which is under repairs, right? Okay. There are significant opportunities for business offering genuine parts, quality repair service, and complementary products such as insurance and fleet management. Okay, great. All right. A lot of people have been contributing. Let me see what you are saying. Someone said they talked about full control under future outlook in Exhibit 4. Okay, we are here to be there. Someone said they do assembly. Okay, I think that's when I mentioned nursing, right? Okay. Dark and Jetor. Okay, yeah. All right. So I see somebody said business integration, motor repair service centers and spare parts in accordance with Exhibit 4 and 3, auto sales market trends, major business risk is foreign exchange loss due to import dependency. Yeah, correct. Someone said trade and opportunities is from 2022-25. That means we may have 2025 forecasts. Okay, all right. So that's your perspective. That is great. Thank you. So if you have other perspective, please you can put it on. So we are just brainstorming together. All right. But next week, like those grace. It's no longer brainstorming. Okay. So we're just trying to gather information to understand what they are really talking about. But to see a lot of similarities between the motor repair and the sale and distribution, as it were, as far as I'm concerned. So there are a lot of repetition, but notwithstanding, it's fine. So we continue to look at what could be in the mind of the examiner. So at the moment, let's look at the competitive landscape. The key players in the motor vehicle sale and distribution in Nigeria can be classified into indigenous and foreign-based companies. Are you serious? Really? Okay. The market is further segmented into dealers in new vehicles, dealers in used vehicles, and dealers in both new and used vehicles. Okay. Forlac Motors, and hey, this is what I've been waiting for, is one of the indigenous businesses selling both new and used vehicles. That's it. That answers my question. Since okay, yeah. So they are in the sale and distribution. So they are not into motor repair and they are not doing assembly. What does that mean? So why is the examiner giving me information about motor repair? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Okay, or is it because they are connected? It could be because they are connected actually. They are under service sector, and there's no way you want to talk about sale and distribution of cars without talking about the repairs, because I think all of them are in the same WhatsApp group. Okay, maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure yet. Yeah. So, but let's continue. Projection and future outlook for 2025 and beyond. I think somebody made a comment. It might be a new business they are proposing. Absolutely. Yeah, correct. Yes. So you are thinking what I'm thinking. Yeah. It could be actually, and it could also be because they are just connected. But let's see. Um, okay, someone said diversification. Okay, diversification. What is really diversification? What does it mean? So I want to ask a question for knowledge sake, right? So if I'm selling Tokumbo and I think they said they are selling both new vehicles and used vehicles, that's Tokumbo. So that's what they are selling, right? So they import and they sell. So if they go into assembly, is that diversification? I'm just asking because I don't know. Is that diversification? Or they just expanded their business expansion? So we need to think about it. So we need to be conscious or cautious when using the word diversification. What does it really mean? So we need to find out. Okay. So I'm just challenging you to think like a professional. So for me to agree that it's going to be diversification, then you need to work on my brain. All right. So it could be an expansion if it is still the same line of business. That's what I think. Because diversification means the examiner will actually use the word diversification for you to say they want to do assembly or they want to start producing locally, right? But the word diversification, as far as I'm concerned, should be that you are going to another line of business. But if you want to increase what you do currently, then that could be business expansion. That's what I think. Okay. Um, Someone said Pollock may want to. Okay, I think. Oh, people are already responding to that. Great, thank you. Uh, Demonstration is venturing into a different business. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Thank you. Follow we want to include repairs in the still. Yeah, that's expansion. So more of expansion. Yeah. It should be business expansion because diversification is a new market, new product. Absolutely. Thank you. This is a new business. Yes. We're only listening to God and you only. Oh my God. I just touched me, right? Okay, thank you. That's what I think, right? So, but as I said, examiner may mention the word diversification, so don't allow that to disturb it. Just flow with it, okay? But I think diversification is when you're going to another line of business, right? Okay, as some people have agreed with me. Thank you. All right. Okay, I think I have some other comments. Let me see that. Okay, someone also said as another perspective, there is related and unrelated diversification. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so we can do more research on that, right? That's fine. Someone said, I think Folak may consider expanding from car sales into service centers or repair workshop or spare part retail. Yeah, so that could be the reason why they're telling us about motor repairs. Absolutely, I agree with you. So if you place it side by side, you want to go with Polak going into motor repair or going into assembly or production? Which one will you go for? It can be one of the three. It can be all of them. So which one do you want to go for? So think about it. That will form requirement two. All right, so let's see projections. The Nigerian motor vehicle sales and distribution is projected to see a cautious growth through 2025 with annual sales potentially reaching 320,000 units. 320,000 units. Come on. Wow. Key drivers will include gradual economic recovery, policy reforms aimed at encouraging local manufacturing, and continued rise in digital sales and financing platforms. However, significant risk remain currency volatility, inflation, and potential policy reversals could impact market stability. To unlock the sector's full potential, stakeholders are calling for consistent automotive policy implementation, expansion of auto financing solutions, investment in infrastructure and security, and capacity building and skills development for local assembly. Okay. Oh. Again, analysis of motor repairs, service centers, and spare parts sales in Nigeria. Oh, okay. Okay. So we have this again. So we talked about motor repairs earlier. So this is the analysis. Okay. Wait, sorry. What did you talk about around motor repair earlier? Let me just go to the exhibits to understand what that is saying. Okay. Analysis of motor repair, service center, and spare parts. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But we've talked about some motor repair information. I think. Okay. It's fine. Okay. So let's look at it very quickly. So let's look at exhibit 4. Nigeria has a rapidly expanding automotive sector. I normally call it automobile. Is it the same? Okay. The growing demand for personal and commercial transportation has led to proliferation of auto. We read this now. Center spare parts sales across the nation. Okay. Overview of the automotive after sales markets in Nigeria. Okay. All right. I have some comments. Let me take a break to read the comments. Economy expansion is strategic fit. Strategic fit. I like that. That's really interesting. That's fine. Strategic fit. Yeah, I've seen that somewhere. I think I've written a report like that that has this strategic fit. And that reminds me, so I will consider that. Thank you. I love that. Further motor might go into expansion of car assembly since importation is high, but they didn't really tell us about car assembly. But you are very correct, right? I understand your thoughts. So he's been talking about motor repairs. So as I said, we have three things: motor repair, assembly, and production. You know, assembly is different from production. Assembly, the equipment are ready, it's already produced, you just assemble it here. Like Inosin is doing, like somebody has said earlier. Production is they produce everything. So which one are they going for, or which one will the examiner test? So we need to find out. Okay. Follow-up may be considered after sales service as a competitive advantage. After sales service. After sales service. That is risky actually. So if I'm selling a used car and my business is to sell Tokumbo used car or new car, and I want to do after sales service for that. Can I? That's a lot of risk. That's what I think. I understand your thoughts. Yeah. It's so the what I'm thinking is what we cause, we are looking at what would be requirement one is not a challenge, as you said, because that would be your financial statement analysis. Then, but for requirement two is we are still looking at is it gonna be repairs. So repairs, I think, would be part of after sales service, if I'm correct. Then assembly and production. So if it's going to be production, think of NPV. If it's going to be assembly, maybe NPV, maybe again. If it's going to be repairs, they want to start doing repairs. It could also be NPV because they need to invest in infrastructure, if I'm correct, equipment, tools, and all of that. Okay, and but then they are going to do a lot of forecasts. Okay, yeah, into how many people will come, how much will they make. So there will be a lot of overwhelming information. The examiner should go this route. So how do we get a question to prepare? So we need to do a lot of research. Well, leave that to me. I'll work on that. Okay, so yes, so someone said possible limiting factor. Yeah, exactly. If they go into assembly factor. Yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier as well. So limiting factor can be there if it's going to go into something related to manufacturing. Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll keep thinking. So let me leave it to you. But again, I'll pass through a lot of mental stress to write this exam. So, but I'll try as much as possible to make it easier. God will make it easy for us. Someone said activity-based costing because of the case of drivers. Absolutely. Anything is actually possible, right? Yeah, you're correct. ABC analysis. I need to go and revise this, right? Okay. All right. Yeah, you are very correct. So, or if you have a car dealer here, please tell us. What do you use in your company? Tell us. Someone said the company is trying to achieve sustainable growth as they experience no growth currently by analysis. Yes, you're correct. Thank you. Okay, Joe, who is working in a dealer, please now tell us. What do you use? So I can just focus on that. Okay, so we have, okay, I think I read that. Let's see the overview. Automotive after sales market. Okay, so I think this is looking at after sales market in Nigeria. Encompasses a wide array of services, including vehicle repairs, routine maintenance, the sale of spare parts. The sector is largely driven by aging vehicle population, uh, importation of used vehicles, and challenging road and environmental conditions that accelerate vehicle wear and tear. Most vehicles in Nigeria are imported, with a significant portion being used cars, while intensifying the demand for maintenance and replacement parts. Okay. All right. Motor repairs. So it's merging repair service center and after sales. Okay. Even spare part sales. See? So let's look at motor repair. So as you can see from this flow, we have after sales market, we have motor repairs, we have service center, we have spare parts. Then the key challenges, opportunity, future outlook. Wow. Okay. So which one should we, so he didn't really talk about assembly. He didn't talk about assembly. He didn't talk about manufacturing or production. Like I meant he didn't analyze them. He didn't give us market insights or industry review in that regard. All right, but he mentioned them at some point. So when you see when you look at this, he spoke a lot about motor repairs, now service centers, spare parts, and all of that. So maybe you might be thinking in that line. Okay, all right. So under the motor repairs, he said motor repair workshop range from informal roadside mechanics to formalized branded service centers. Informal operators dominate the market, offering cost-effective solutions but often lack advanced diagnosis tools, and standardized practices. All of shops typically affiliated with car manufacturers or franchise are concentrated in major urban centers. These centers provide high quality service, access to genuine parts, and better trained personnel, but their services are often expensive. It's true. You take your car to a Toyota dealer, for example, almost you spend a lot, but you're going to get quality. Now, service centers in Nigeria are evolving with more dealerships and manufacturers establishing automotive or authorized service facilities. These centers offer comprehensive maintenance packages, warranty services, customer support. However, their reach is limited, and many vehicle owners still rely on independent workshops for routine maintenance due to cost and accessibility. There is a growing trend towards digitalization, with some service centers adopting online booking, customer relationship management, and telematics to enhance service delivery. So these are service centers. Okay. Spare parts sales. The spare parts sales in Nigeria is extensive and fragmented. It includes both genuine original equipment manufacturer, that's the OEM. Yeah, if you know that. And then after sales markets, non-OEM alternative. The prevalence of counterfeit and substandard parts is a persistent challenge, often resulting in compromised safety and vehicle performance. Major spare parts markets serve as hubs for distribution. The rise of e-commerce platform is gradually transforming the sector, making it easier for customers to access a wider range of products, compare prices, and verify authenticity. So we have the key challenges: counterfeit parts, skills gap, infrastructure, import dependency, regulatory oversight. Now, those are the challenges in the subsector. Okay. Now, opportunities, training and certification, digitalization, localization, partnership. Future outlook. Let's see. The motor repairs service center and spare part. Okay, so it's one. Okay, so they class it as one. All right. In Nigeria is poised for growth, driven by increased vehicle ownership and urbanization. However, realizing the sector's full potential requires addressing the challenges of counterfeit parts, skills infrastructure gaps, and regulatory enforcement. The integration of technology and investment in quality assurance will be critical in shaping a sustainable and competitive automobile after-sales market in Nigeria. New entrants into motor repair service centers and spare parts sales could potentially be companies that buy and sell. Egbamio. sorry to say that. The answer we have been looking for is here. I have seen the answer. Okay? See, this is what it's going to test. Yes, this is what it's going to test. Yeah, I have seen the answer. Because he didn't talk about assembly and he didn't talk about manufacturing. So, I've been saying, the moment I saw that exhibit in my head, that's why the fact I've not read it. Why is it telling me this? Why is it telling me that? So, which of these is Folak playing? Then to tell me what the likely requirement is going to look like. And I've seen it. That's it. That's the answer. Let's go to the financials. So something is interesting in this case. He didn't tell us about Folak. Where were they incorporated? Where are they located? Is it in Lagos? Is it that? He didn't tell us the bus structure, the management. He didn't tell us. But that's not a problem actually. Okay. So he didn't even tell us the operation, and all of that. So he just said this is what they do. Okay. That's interesting actually. All right, so he gave us our financial statements, unaudited account, so to speak. That makes it interesting. Revenue, what happens? Revenue increase, right? Okay. The costs of sales, selling, total sale. Okay, so we're going to do this analysis, next week, like God's grace. Yeah, so I think this account is interesting. Let me see the profit. Is it increasing? Okay. Profit increased, but I think gross profit. It didn't give us gross profit. Okay, we can do it actually. Operating income declined slightly in 2024, but net income increased. Okay, that's interesting. All right, someone said Folak will not go into manufacturing as demand for new vehicles is low. Not necessarily. The new vehicle is talking about a foreign vehicle, because of forex, they're going to import. So that makes it very expensive. So when you manufacture locally, it's really high. As you can't, that's why if you read somewhere, they said the sector is faced with policy reversals. So if there are policies that encourage local production, in fact, you need to even go into importing new vehicles because it will be cheaper, way cheaper. Forex alone will make it so high. So they can actually go in there. But why? And again, it can also be a deceit. Hey God, God really need to lead us. They may actually go into manufacturing. Maybe the data may use that to deceive us, actually. Yeah. But it can also be correct. It could be that's what they are thinking, business expansion. Or they may call it diversification, like somebody said, they are related and unrelated diversification, if that is correct. Okay. So it's possible. Anything is actually possible. So you can't take anything out. All right. Someone said there's a mistake in determining the profit before tax. Let me see that. In 20x4. What is it? Profit before tax. They didn't give us profit before tax. Okay, income before tax. Oh, okay. What was the mistake? PPT calculation is wrong. Oh, okay. No, it's not wrong actually. I don't think it's wrong. Yeah, let me first my calculator. So let me look at it. I don't think it's wrong. You know me, I've seen a lot of financial statements, so I can tell for free. So I think you are talking about here, right? Here. So you're also looking at this figure, if I'm correct. So let me put this in yellow as well. Then the problem, I think they are saying here, because when looking at the figure, it cannot give me that 72. I think that's what you're saying. But I'll prove to you that this 72 is correct. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I think that's what you're saying. So let's look at this. Please, let me correct it with you. So I can say 52190. I think that should be correct. Minus 11150. Is that okay? It will give me 41040. Do you understand? Let me take it again. If you say 52190 minus 11150, to give me 41040. If you remove 31 from that, it can never give you that 72, right? So why you cannot remove it is that you will realize that if I say 70, sorry, if I say 31290 minus the answer, it will give me 9750, and it's not possible. You know why it's not possible? There is no, except there is why it's not possible is this. You cannot make a profit, income before tax of 9750 in 2024, and your net income is now 58940. It's not possible. Does that make sense, right? So look at the net income here. It cannot, it's not possible now, because by the time you now apply 13390, it will give you negative. So how come negative is not here? All right. So the person that prepares this account, or that they gave you to type it, is one that made the error. So it should have been 52190 minus 11150. Get your answer. 41040. Then plus 31290. So to give you that 72330. So it should be other loss / income, not other loss alone. That's it. I've dealt with a lot of financial, so I understand that. So it should be other loss / income. So in 2023, it was a loss. Then in 2024, it was an income, other income. Is that okay? There's other income in the accounting. So it's other income. So that should not be in jacket. That 31290 should not be in jacket. So remove the jacket, add it, everything is correct. So that's it. I hope I've been able to answer you. Okay, I guess that's what somebody was showing me. I remember. I think I was in Abuja at that time. The person just now I was saying this figure is not correct. I'm like, I have not checked it. So I'm seeing it again for the first time actually. All right, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. Uh, yeah. I can't you correct. They won't correct it. No, no, no. I will have corrected it for you now. Okay, somebody said a driver for changes in income is in the income tax. Changes in income. Let me see that. Okay, yes. They went from a benefit to a provision. We might have to report on tax plan. Yeah, of course. We saw that in the exhibit. Yeah, sure. Okay, they may ask us. Thank you. Right. Okay. So we also have assets. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, so you have a lot to do here. Go and do your liquidity ratios, your inventory days. They have inventory, right? Is that payable there? Receivables, let me see. You have a lot to talk about. Yeah, this is interesting. So we're gonna do all of this. So what I'm not sure is because it's giving me 2 years financials. So we play more on talking. Then we just ask you to review this account, right? So again, as I mentioned, I'm not sure that's going to bring down 2025, but we'll stay on this, so that we don't distort the figures. And after all, we don't even know. But the way it will be for January to December. So absolutely, 2025 will not come up here because it says 2023 to 2024. Okay, so obviously it will be these 2 years. And anytime the examiner gives these 2 year financial, expect about 3 to 4 requirements. Yeah, so that's what I've seen, what they've done so far. And they may just leave it at 2 requirements, who knows? Okay, so they may keep it as simple as possible. Thank you for listening. I hope you are blessed. I hope you have some insights. All right. So thank you for also the engagement. It's really lovely. I think you gave me some things to consider as well. I really appreciate that. Okay. So find time to watch the video lecture to prepare you ahead of time. In case you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Ayo Milado, right? And my number is 0036324090. So you can reach out to me. So strictly next week, by God's grace, November 16, 7:30 p.m. I'm going to do great analysis. I'll give you a live report. I'll show you the structure of the report, what you need to do, what you need to consider. Even if the examiner decides to bring rich information, just stay on the lane. What does that mean? Stick to the plan. Okay. So you're going to really enjoy it. I think it's a very interesting case. It's not going to be really difficult. That's what I think. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I think if you have questions, you can ask me, reach out to me on a call. At least I've read it now, so I have an idea of what's there. So, and it's interesting that I was able to read it right for the first time and I was able to get what is in there. So, nobody can, even I have not told you I have not read it, you won't even know. Okay, so it's really great. Thank you. Yeah, sure, you get a recording tonight, obviously, by God's grace. Yeah, tomorrow we'll start to work on this by the grace of God. I'm working actually, so I'm really busy. I'll be using nights to do it. Maybe be sleeping at 3 a.m., maybe they go to work at 5, sorry, at 6, come back again, use all the night. But by the grace of God, it will be ready on Sunday. Yeah, by the grace of God. Thank you. Thank you so very much. November 16, 7:30 p.m. I'm going to see, we're going to do justice to this. As you prepare for other papers, I wish you the very best. God will give you the direction, you will not read and miss. And on the day of the exam, you will not suffer memory failure. Thank you. See you. Very night first. You know why I'm laughing? We are past this exam, yeah. So it's not really difficult. If it is difficult, I would have said it, but it's not. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.